Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez. Just a reminder that full-length meetings, special events, and every episode of every program we air here on Channel 18 can be viewed online. You can check it all out in the town's video archives at town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, it's a little bit hard to believe, but the first day of school is September 1st. That's less than 2 weeks away from today. And so today we're showing you highlights from this past Tuesday's school committee meeting, which was the school committee's last meeting before the beginning of this academic year. Much of the meeting was spent on the evaluation of Superintendent Dr. Patricia Grenier's performance over the past year. The evaluation was overwhelmingly positive, with school committee members heaping praise on the superintendent for successfully leading the district through a year that was characterized by deep budget cuts and a major reorganization of many of the schools around the district. Here's some of what the committee members had to say.
First of all, to have come through the year that this system just came through in the shape that this school system is in right now is just, I think, a tribute to Patty's leadership, and I don't think enough can be said. And I know Patty has said more than once that she doesn't do this alone, and I'll acknowledge that as well, for the work of the administrative staff and teachers and volunteers and support staff of the system too. But it takes a leader, and that was a very, very difficult, to put it mildly, challenge, and I think this system is much for the better for it, and we're in an excellent position going forward.
And I don't think we ever really stop and take the time to celebrate what we pulled off and what this community pulled off under your leadership. I mean, in 2009, we in this room made some tough decisions, but as you think about it, that was, in hindsight, probably the easiest part of that whole transition, and it was really the implementation and making that happen and being positive as it's all coming about, to me, makes this past year a smashing success. I mean, could you find pieces and places and room for improvement? Absolutely. If we're not finding that stuff, we're not doing our jobs. But to me, the evaluation of the superintendent, I wouldn't have missed this part of the meeting for the world, because to me, this is the chance to say, you did a hell of a job and thank you very much.
I think if you look at the Barnstable schools, instead of saying you did a great job with one thing here or one thing there or one thing there, if you just try to sit back a little bit and say, look at the Barnstable school system, look at what we've accomplished, look at who we are. We are the pride and the envy of many school systems in this state. We are the example for many school systems in this state. You continue to say that you work as a team member, but that team member has a leader that involves everyone in the community. One thing, if I could come up with one adjective to describe you, I would say transparent. You've always been able to express what you're thinking right now, what you're thinking for the future, and how you're going to go about that process for our school system. And I thank you very much. As a parent, as a school committee member, thank you very much for that, because it's been a difficult couple of years, both being on the other side of this microphone and being on, it hasn't been difficult on this side of the microphone because you guys did a great job. But as far as that's concerned, your communication is to be applauded. And this school system is doing an incredible job. We are thriving today, educational-wise, because of your leadership.
The work that you have done in creating a standards-based curriculum, when it's been such a moving target, and is going to have a profound effect on the school district moving forward, I believe. And kudos to you, because that's a heavy lift to do that. And to be able to then translate that into because you can now use data to measure progress more effectively. And I think one of your great strengths in this whole curriculum effort, and not just you, I because you always do give credit to others, which is well-deserved, I know. But I think one of your great strengths is whether it's in curriculum or in budgeting, is sort of gap analysis. You look at where are the gaps and how do you fill them. And I think that's a tremendous strength. And I think what you and Marie and the others have done with this curriculum work is just phenomenal. And sometimes the little things make a big difference. It may not seem, there's a couple of little things. One is that on our agenda every month or whenever we meet are the core values. Because I think you always ask the question, and I think it's a strength in all of these goals, and that is, if we do this, will it improve student achievement? Because if it's not, then the question is, why are we doing it? And I think that that's sort of the flavor you bring to a lot of what we do as a committee and what the school district does. It's always, where are the issues? What are the solutions? You don't just look at the problem, but what are the solutions?
After the evaluation, Dr. Grenier had her chance to respond, and she did so in her typically humble way.
I had the opportunity to present to a conference today on school safety in Boston as a panelist, and one of the things that enabled me to present Barnstable so well was the essence of working with people like you. And the administrative team that I worked with. Someone from the audience asked me a question and said, well, how do you get these, the intruder drills, the bus drills, and the fire drills accomplished so easily? And I was sort of stunned by the question, because I said, well, they're required. But more than that, it's the degree to which our principals take the goal of physical and emotional safety for our students seriously. And so honestly, it really is the people that you work with that make you look good. So thank you very much.
Later in the meeting, the committee touched on school transportation fees, and again, Dr. Grenier made an appeal to families who have not yet secured bus passes for their children to do so right away.
It's very simple. Please, and I love to be described as dogged. Please hear me and show up at the transportation office. And it goes to our core value of dignity and respect, because your behavior impacts many, many other people. And so please come and get your bus application in, and they're actually completed applications are done and passes are done, and Sandy is actually having those people come in and pick them up. But so at the same time she's asking people to come pick up those who have processed, she is more than happy to take more applications, because every application that she can take and process before the start of the school year saves changes on the route, allows us to be more consistent with students. And students need consistency at the beginning of the year. Parents need consistency. So if you haven't done it, please do it, because your behavior affects a whole busload of students, quite frankly. And it makes Sandy Gifford's job much, much harder than it needs to be, and it's already a very difficult job at this time of year. So all of our conversations have helped. I will say that a parent actually called me after the last meeting when I talked about the core value of dignity and respect. She said, thank you for putting it that way. I hadn't thought about how my behavior was affecting other people, and I'm going to get my bus application in today.
If you still haven't filled out a bus pass application, you can get one at the school transportation office, which is located behind the Barnstable Senior Center right off of Route 28. Well, there's no more meetings left on the town's agenda this week, so all that's left is to say so long. I'm Nick Cortez, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.